But on that front, the Big 12 is getting Big Noon Saturday this weekend, and that is definitely something I want to talk about too, because that is a perfect transition into Colorado. And Matthew, I see you. I promise I'm going to get to your chat as well. No, you know what? You mentioned Colorado. So, Matthew, we're doing it right now. You mentioned Colorado. I didn't see it until the very end there. Thank you, Matthew, for your support of the channel. I appreciate you, man. Matthew says, shocked at the BYU K-State results. Can't believe no TDs allowed, but we'll take it. Yes, should have said that about the BYU defense. First defense to hold K-State without a touchdown since 2020. 4 years. Also shocked to see KU getting so much this year. Me too. I definitely felt like they were a heavy favorite or at least a solid favorite in Morgantown. And hats off to CU for pulling off such a thriller OT win. Boy, that was crazy. That was crazy. Okay. Colorado, look, I know nobody seems to really like them, or at least many around here are not the biggest fans of Colorado. You have to give Colorado credit for one thing. They are incredible TV to watch most of the time. Nebraska game, maybe not, but even then, you still got Shador blaming the offensive line afterwards, all the fallout and reaction from that game, leaving early. There's all that. There's always something. They are a great TV show. If you think about this in terms of like, hey, the new game in college football is what can you bring to the table from a brand value standpoint and just like a TV rating standpoint? How many eyeballs will we get watching your squad? Colorado delivers on that promise. They may not always deliver on substance on the field. They may not deliver on, things in the trenches that are happening in a game. They will deliver in terms of a TV show. And that was great television that they produced on Saturday against Baylor. Shador is making incredible plays all game, just running for his life. Once again, like I said, the trenches, not really their deal. That's not really what Colorado does. But Shador puts on a show, keeps his team in the game. You get to the end, and Colorado completes. They didn't complete them, but they pulled off. This is the way to say it. Colorado pulled off back-to-back Hail Marys. They worked. The guy just didn't catch the first one, right? It was like the Patrick Mahomes Superman throw in the Super Bowl against the Bucks, where it just hit, was it Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the face? I mean, that's what happened there. It just hits his dude in the face, but it was there. And then he does it again. He does it again on the next play, and LeJontay Webster catches it. Colorado pulls off back-to-back Hail Marys that work. The second actually counts. Then we get into overtime, and Travis Hunter is the guy that makes the play. You've got the game of inches moment. Everybody, nothing better than that. Game of inches, literally. It's about 2 inches away, the ball from breaking the play and crossing the goal line and being probably the tying touchdown that would send it into double overtime. Instead, Travis Hunter, your Heisman candidate, comes through and blasts the ball out of there. Unreal moment. Unbelievable. And that's in a game where it was just back and forth. Credit Sawyer Robertson for making plays. Like, he was doing a good job too. Like, there was a lot of excitement happening. There were just big time plays. It felt like big punches being thrown on both sides and exciting plays. Like, Colorado just gets into generally really exciting games. It's an aesthetically pleasing brand of football, even if sometimes it's not great. So it creates an incredible TV product, even though the reality of the situation is probably that we just watched two teams that will finish between 5-7 and 7-5, duking it out. But it makes for a great TV show, especially when Prime is there as the magnet and everybody is so invested. I mean, Colorado is getting a ton of run right now. They are getting Big Noon Saturday to come to the bounce house next weekend for UCF Colorado, and it's happening all because they beat like a 5-7, 6-6 Baylor team at home in overtime, and they needed a miracle to even get there and win the game. But that's the beauty of Colorado. Some people will say, John, that's the complete opposite of the beauty of Colorado. I don't like that. I don't like that about Colorado. But consider this. Everything in the way the sport is set up right now seems to work against the Big 12 generally, right? Like, it's all about big brands and eyeballs and who is going to watch your games. And it doesn't seem fair. It's not a meritocracy. You have schools like Oklahoma State, like K-State, like Iowa State that have done a lot of winning recently, that have been on big stages, but not enough people care to watch them all the time. And it doesn't, you have people caring more about watching like Miami, who, yes, legit this year, it appears, but for the last 20, they have not been. People watching Nebraska. They have the longest bowlless streak in FBS football. But people watch them. It's not fair. It works against the Big 12. Here's a situation where it works for the Big 12. That's what I would encourage you to think of it like this. Colorado is the rare exception to the rule where the way the sport is dictated right now and how TV just controls everything, it works in favor of the league because Colorado, I have not seen a thing this year that would change me from my preseason prediction that they're probably 6-6 or 7-5. But they're on Fox and CBS, ESPN. They're on major networks every week. They're bringing Big Noon Saturday to the Big 12, even though I believe they were not contractually obligated to do that because they've already hit one Big 12 game this year when they went to West Virginia at the beginning of the year. So, that's the beauty of it. Colorado is doing what nobody else in the Big 12 really can because the system here is kind of tilted towards you to work that way. So you can be frustrated about the attention that Prime gets and you don't like the way he builds his program or the way the players carry themselves. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But I would encourage you to at least appreciate what it does for the league because now you're going to get a lot of people to go pay attention to UCF and see UCF and put more focus on their season. Great marketing tool for the conference. Excellent. So I was very excited to see that today, that you're going to get Big Noon Saturday there. Because Colorado pulls off a miracle win. You have an aesthetically pleasing style of football, a lightning rod of a coach, lightning rod players that are exciting as hell. And yes, you can definitely spruce up a 6 or 7 win team that way. If any other team in the country, any other school had the same resume as Colorado, which is basically tight win over North Dakota State, comfortable win over Colorado State, miracle win over Baylor, and just getting sandwiched, just squashed at Nebraska in between there, would not be an iota of this amount of attention, particularly if it's a Big 12 school, right? If it's like Texas Tech has that resume, nobody would care. Nobody would care. But now lots of people care. And I guess on that front, maybe I should extend the same kind of, hey, who the hell knows? Because the Big 12 is so wide open, sort of attitude to Colorado that I am for everybody else. Their schedule coming up. They're at UCF, K-State, at Arizona, Cincinnati, at Tech. I don't know. Do any of those games feel like an automatic loss? They're almost a 2-touchdown dog at UCF. That's going to be really hard. But an automatic loss? What K-State team did you just watch in Provo? They've got to go to Boulder. They're going to be on the road there. Colorado has been filling it up. That's definitely not an auto L for Colorado there. At Arizona, I watched Arizona play in Manhattan. Colorado could win that game. I don't know if I would pick them to, but they could certainly win that game. Cincinnati, Tech looking a little better. At Tech, it'll be tough, but they're certainly not infallible. We'll see. And now the intrigue keeps going. People sense this and know this about the Big 12. And so TV cameras are going to want to be on there. See what happens next week in this great reality show as it rolls into a game that is probably not going to be just a total whitewashing. They will at least have a puncher's chance. So I would tell you to embrace that, at least to an extent. Now, on the flip side of this coin is poor Dave Aranda. I like Dave Aranda so much, want to see him succeed. But, dude, the way that all unfolded feels like that's a backbreaking, you're done kind of a loss. And not that it's literally done right now, but that you may not be able to get the team to recover from it enough to extend your time in Waco. Especially when, now, everybody seems to be really focused on the fact that Dave Aranda did say in the postgame press conference that the last play they ran, like the last coverage they had drawn up on defense, the play's called Victory Cigar. And of course, that, gives up the Hail Mary and you wind up losing the game. Would I have said that publicly? Probably not. I don't know that I would have wanted to divulge that, but I appreciate that he did. It certainly is incredible content. It's great content. But everybody seems to be really focused on this idea of like, oh my God, how could you say that? Like, blah, blah. Guys, that's not what's going to kill them. What's going to kill them is the substance of what happened in the game. That'll be what did it. The only thing that the victory cigar thing is going to do is it's just going to make it really hard for Dave Aranda to ever get on Twitter again. It'll make it really hard for him to get on Twitter because he's going to be memed into oblivion for having the play call at the end there be victory cigar, and then they give up back-to-back Hail Marys that should have worked, the second one actually counting. But the real damage is the substance of the loss. I mean, and it's not just that this one game, it's how it happened in the one game and then what it means for the rest of your season. Dave Aranda is the defensive guy. They have him taking over calling the defense again this year. He's supposed to be the one fixing this thing. His offense and special teams, like the rest of the squad, gave him 31 points on the road. It's pretty good. You should probably win in that scenario. I know Colorado's got some skill talent, but you sacked him. You sacked Shedeur Sanders 8 times. You should be able to win the game. If you're getting 8 sacks and you got 31 points, you should be okay. But Dave Aranda, not able to get it done. And the defense squarely on his shoulders. Had a golden opportunity to put the game away. There are just a million things you could look back on. You're giving up Hail Marys. You have the ball with 4 minutes left at the Colorado 26. You got to do better than missed 46-yard field goal. You have to come through more than that. Left the door cracked open. Colorado busted on through there. Getting the ball knocked out, obviously, inches before the tying touchdown in overtime is like a massive cherry on top there. That's just so brutally tough to see for your team. How do kids pick themselves up off the mat after that sort of a loss? That's a really, really hard one. Everybody already knew this year around Waco, Dave Aranda is pretty much coaching for his job. Like this, you can't lay another egg here. This can't be another dud. And the kids know that. Like the players know that. I got to stop calling them kids, dude. I'm 35. The players know that. Now everybody tightens up, I would think, right? Like you're like, man, we're losing some of the, we just lost the game we had in the bag. We're losing some of the grace that we had with all of this to try and keep his job here. Like the more this happens, the more you lose. Everybody's going to tense up a little bit here and be like, what are we doing? So I worry a lot about what it does for the rest of Baylor's season. And I'm not the only person. I know this is far from a unique take. It's the obvious take. It's the right take. Like that is one that has the makings of a you're not coming back from that one type of loss. Absolutely brutal. Brutal for Baylor there.